This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, November 5, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Let's see what unfolds between now and the next day. Oftentimes people talk about karma, mostly, dharma. You kind of look at the game of enlightenment. It starts from exactly where you are in your life at this very moment. It's not about rejecting or walking away from any part of your life. The game is to bring all of your life into harmony at every level, to act according to dharma, which is the law of the universe, truth, how it all is. Your karma is what you are given to do in your life based on past actions. Making a spiritual practice out of your karma, using it to go to God, is what brings karma into dharma, life into harmony. With the Spirit. From a spiritual standpoint, the intent and the manner of doing something are more important than the act itself. When you bring all of your life into harmony at every level, you act in accord with dharma. Another way to say it is you're doing God's will, because you are God. This is a reconnection with who and what you are. All forms of yoga are ways of coming into union with God. Not only yoga, but Tai Chi, Qigong, there's a lot of them. So karma yoga is putting all the activity of your life, work, relationships, service toward consummating that union. How you go about your work in this world determines whether your work is a vehicle for your spiritual awakening or for getting more caught in Maya, increasing the illusion of separation. Karma yoga uses selfless action and service to a way of bringing your life into harmony with the One. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna to do what he does, but to offer the fruits of his actions to him, to Krishna. So to use your daily life and work as a conscious spiritual path means relinquishing your attachment to the fruits of the actions, to how they come out. Instead of doing it for a reward or a result, you do your work as an offering, one of love for God. True love for God, your work becomes an expression of devotion, or bhakti. Now, loving service to others is also a way of offering your work to God. And remember, you're offering your attention and awareness to the God that you are in that body. Hanuman expresses his devotion through his service to Ram. Hanuman exemplifies that combination of bhakti, which is devotion. Bhakti is devotion. And karma yoga, service. Devotion to service. Hanuman personifies Khalil Gibran's statement, work is love made visible. Like Hanuman, you serve others as a way of honoring the God within you. It's an attitude you develop, an attitude of offering. Every action you perform, you offer as selfless service. Siva in Sanskrit. Selfless service, Siva in Sanskrit. Sanskrit's very old communication. And the same vein, Christ says, the Christ energy says about service, what you do for the least of my brothers and sisters, you do for me. Shiva doesn't have ego in it. It's all soul. Any action can be Shiva. Every God. Offering your work and all your actions to God takes daily life one of the realm of ego into the highest self. Karma yoga is a great practice, especially for us Westerners, who are so addicted to doing, because it opens us to being even while we're doing. Letting go of the doer lightens your load. It's not even your load anymore. Not my will, but thy will. I slept in dreams and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. Rabindranath Tagore. Find someone or something that needs help and help out. Work on yourself to make it a conscious act of service. Gandhi said, the act that you do may seem very insignificant, but it's important that you do it. Another term for karma yoga is right action. In the West, the concept of right action is a difficult one to hear because it runs counter to our achievement and goal-oriented culture. Now in India, they have a very deep sense of doing one's dharma. From that view, it's natural to attune yourself to be in harmony with the laws of the universe. Your life is the part you play. You go from being the star of your own show to becoming an actor in the divine play. The Bhagavad Gita instruction to be unattached to the fruits of your actions is the key. If you are a parent raising a child, do not get attached to the act of raising the child. That doesn't mean you're not a loving, active parent. Your job is to love and nurture, feed and clothe, take care and guard the safety of the child, and guide him or her with your moral compass. But how the child turns out is how the child turns out. Ultimately, he or she is not your child. Who they turn out to be is up to God and their own karma. Your attachment, your clinging to how the child is going to turn out affects every aspect of how you parent. A lot of our anxiety comes because we are attached to how a child is supposed to come out. Smart, successful, creative. Whatever it is we want for our child. Of course, you parent your child as impeccably as you can. Parent is your role to play because that is your dharma. And naturally, you become immersed in your role in this life. But it is also important to remember you're in a soul playing a role. Who your child is and who you are not roles. As a conscious being, you do all you can do to live in your soul and to create a space for others to be in their own soul too. But you do so without trying to change the existing karma. You do not need to change your karma, only your attachment to it. Attachment is what keeps you stuck to your limited reality. Your attachment, wishing your loved ones to be different than they are, keeps them the same. Just allow them to be the way they are and love them. Then they may change. But it's not up to you. Samuel Johnson said, "He who has so little knowledge of human nature as to seek happiness by changing anything but his own disposition will waste his life in fruitful efforts." Keep working on yourself until you are radiating love for each of the beings in your life. When you are radiating love, then everybody else is free to give up their stuff when they're ready to give it up. Like a skillful gardener, you create a space for people to grow when they're ready to grow. As a parent, you create the garden for a child to grow. That's why they call it kindergarten. But you don't grow the flower. You cultivate the fertilizer, the earth, keep it weeded and moist, and then the flower grows naturally. The essence of karma yoga is to free yourself from attachments to the events of your life, to stop creating more karma that gets you more stuck, and to get free of your existing karma. The minute your awareness grasps at anything, whether through attraction or aversion, you create karma from that link between awareness and the acts or thoughts or emotions then that follow from the desire or the aversion. Action arising from awareness, not identified with attraction or aversion, creates no karma. Karma is the residual effect of an attached act. No attachment, no karma. The great way is not difficult for those not attached to preferences. When neither love nor hate arises, all is clear and undistinguished, undisguised, separate by the smallest amount. However, and you are as far from it as heaven is from earth. Only you're the heaven. If you wish to know the truth, then hold to no opinion for or against anything. To set up what you like against what you dislike. is the dis-ease of the mind. When the fundamental nature of things is not recognized, the mind's essential peace is disturbed to no avail. When you try to stop activity to achieve quietude, your very effort fills you with activity. Do not remain in a dualistic state. Avoid such easy habits carefully. If you attach even to a trace of this and that, of right and wrong, the mind essence will be lost in confusion. Although all dualities arise from the one, do not be attached even to the ideas of this one. When the mind exists undisturbed, and the way there is no objection to anything in this world, and when there is no objection to anything, things cease to be in the old way. Seng San. See, we attach and we expect. We have attachments and expectations. This is part of our ego-mind-driven direction of suffering. One way to get free of attachment is to cultivate the witness consciousness, to become a neutral observer of your own life. The witness place inside you is simple awareness, the part of you that is aware of everything. Just noticing, watching, not judging, just being present, being here now. The witness is actually another level of consciousness. The witness coexists alongside your normal consciousness as another layer of awareness, as the part of you that is awakening. Humans have this unique ability to be in two states of consciousness at once. Witnessing yourself is like directing the beam of a flashlight back at itself in any experience, sensory, emotional, or conceptual. There's the experience, the sensory, or emotional, or thought data, and there's your awareness of it. That's the witness. The awareness and you can cultivate that awareness in the garden of your being. The witness is your awareness of your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Witnessing is like waking up in the morning and then looking into the mirror and noticing yourself, not judging or criticizing, just neutrally observing the quality of being awake. That process of stepping back takes you out of being submerged in your experiences and thoughts and sensory input and into self-awareness. Self-awareness is major for us. Along with that self-awareness comes the subtle joy of just being here, alive, enjoying being present in this moment, and eventually floating in that subjective awareness. The objects of awareness dissolve, and you will come into the spiritual self, which is called Atman, which is pure consciousness, joy, compassion, the one. The witness is your centering device, guides the work you do on yourself. Once you understand that there is a place in you that is not attached to you, can extricate yourself from attachments. Pretty much everything we notice in this universe is a reflection of our attachments. Jesus warned us Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Desire creates your universe. That's just the way it works. So your first job is to work on yourself. The greatest thing you can do for another human being is to get your own house in order and find your true spiritual heart. Many people will do the opposite of that. They don't know who and what they are. They're not sure of themselves, but yet they go out and they help others. But they end up dismantling themselves. Now, you may find after meditating for some years that you begin to see the patterns of your own behavior. As you quiet your mind, you begin to see the nature of your own resistance, your stuckness more clearly. You see the mental struggles, inner dialogues, self-narrations, the ways you procrastinate or resist this life changes. Do not try to change the patterns. Just notice them. As you cultivate the witness, things change. You do not have to change them. When you're being here now in loving awareness, things just change. By cultivating the witness, consciousness, you move your identification from your ego to your soul. It's a good thing to remember. By cultivating the witness consciousness, you move your identification from your ego to your soul. Your soul is in your spiritual heart. The soul witnesses the incarnation. When you stay in the witness, your soul witnesses your feelings, your desires, your experiences, not identifying with those desires or attitudes or any of those things. Then you can just watch the show. Sit back from your ego and your other thoughts and just watch the show of your incarnation like a movie, enjoying the characters, loving the melodrama. It turns out how it turns out. I like to sit back with my guru inside my heart. He is a loving and compassionate, peaceful and wise soul friend. You also can have a soul friend inside yourself. A guru or a good spiritual friend to keep you oriented toward God. Think of the witness as your inner guru, silently illuminating the workings of your mind. There is this quiet place, this conscious entity that's hanging around and showing you, oh, you just got upright, not judging as in, you're such a failure, you fool, you got upright again. But just, okay, you got upright again. How interesting. The quickest way to get through your stuff is to learn to listen to that place inside. The inner guru is always there for you once you recognize it. You have to honor, you choose to honor your own path and to be able to trust that there is a place in you that knows what is best. There is a tendency to look to others for guidance. But really, only you know what is suitable for you. Trust your intuitive heart. The Quakers call it the still small voice within. When it speaks, listen. If, as you listen to your heart's intuition, it feels right to do something, do it. Witnessing is a doorway to living in your spiritual heart, your soul awareness. The more you listen to your internal witness, the more you stop living by other people's judgments and expectations. You start doing what you need to do. To decide what to do with your life. Listen to your heart. The more you live in your spiritual heart, the more you see yourself and others from the soul perspective. Seeing things as a soul changes everything. The program's much farther out than you think. Each of us has our own unique karmic predicament, our own unique work to do. The predicament is that there is nowhere to stand because our identification with the person who has the karma is changing too. As you develop the witness and identify more with your spiritual heart, karma just is. As you awaken, you realize that personal karma is just another illusion. The illusion is that this is the only reality. The witness helps you to see that there are choices, different ways to perceive reality. When you are pouring morning tea or pouring the water into the coffee maker for your family, is that all it is? Or is it God pouring God into God to serve God? Always choose what you feel is most at one with the way of things, the Tao, your dharma. Some of you remember back in the 70s, we put out a box set of records called Love, Serve, Remember. And it was box, records, the 33s. Who you think you are is a matter of perspective. There's a story about a disreputable-looking Sufi named Nasruddin, who is attempting to do some business at a bank. The bank teller asks him if he can identify himself. He pulls out a mirror and says, "Yep, that's me." Do not take your melodrama so seriously. Let's remember who we really are. That is souls, not egos. The ego is who you think you are. Who you think you are will die with the body because it's part of this incarnation. But your soul, which has these qualities of deep wisdom and love and peace and joy, is just here, watching it all go by. It's kind of like you're renouncing external actions but about renouncing your attachment to them. We're really talking about giving up being the central character of your own melodrama, who you think you are, and how you think it is. All this self-narration of the ego is what keeps your personal melodrama going. Ego is neither good nor bad. The ego has a function. It is the vehicle through which you relate to the external world. But the ego is a collection of thoughts. And to the extent you identify your thoughts, they keep you from being here now. Once you let go of the identifications with your thoughts, the melodrama goes on. But it's no longer your melodrama. Appreciate the experiences, but do not get caught in them. The art of spiritual growth has to do with how quickly you recognize attachments and how quickly you can release them. When you can admit that you can't see or hear clearly because of attachments, then the full wisdom of things will begin to shine through. As long as you have some desire about how you think it ought to be, you can't hear how it is. A Zen story about a monk living in a monastery in the hills above a town exemplifies life without attachment. A local girl got pregnant by a fisherman, but she didn't want to get the fisherman in trouble. So she said the monk on the hill was the father. Townspeople went up to the monastery with torches. They knocked on the gate. The monk opened the gate, and they said, "This is your baby. You must raise it." The monk said, "Ah, so." And he took the baby and closed the gates. 9 years later, the girl was dying, but didn't want to die without confessing this terrible injustice. So she told the people. They were mortified. They went rushing up and knocked on the gate. The monk opened the gate, and they said, "We're terribly sorry it wasn't your son. We've come to relieve you of this responsibility." And he said, "Ah, so." We look at our relationships and we look at our emotions. From the soul's point of view, you come to appreciate that each one of us is living out his or her own karma. We interact together. And those interactions are the grist for each other's mill of awakening. From a personality point of view, you develop judgment. But from the soul's point of view, you develop appreciation. This shift from judging to appreciating yourself and what your karmic predicament is, and who other beings are with their own karma, brings everything into a simple, loving awareness. To be free means to open your heart and your being to the fullness of who you are. Because only when you are resting in the place of unity can you truly honor and appreciate others and the incredible diversity of this universe. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close this out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Focus on your breath rising and falling, space between heartbeats. Relaxed into the body. Laugh, play, and enjoy this life. Whenever you can, take a baby step back from your life and look at the bigger picture of it all. You'll soon see how this life is the most magnificent game that we will ever get to play. And you might see how the game or seriousness is a dis-ease that will cripple your soul. So drop this overly serious self ASAP. You do not need such a tight grip on anything, especially the super sweet little old you. In fact, all your deeply desperate and highly urgent desires will manifest much easier and faster when you are living lightly, freely, and being more open to receiving. Just feels better to live your life lightly. So give yourself permission today to have a good long laugh at all of these ridiculous demands and desires that you've put on you. And a dollop of silliness, add a dollop of silliness to all of your conversations and give yourself full permission to be clumsy, carefree, creative, and just watch how wild, alive, and untamable you feel inside. You've been carrying enough weight on your shoulders for far too long. You deserve a major holiday from all of this heaviness. Please take in one breath of lightness. Choose to experience your life as a fun and wonderful adventure into the unknown. It's time to let the good times roll. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We'll return here Wednesday, November 6, 2024, at 3:15, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. We're going to draw a picture of how this planet will look in a very short period of time and how we will be in a very short period of time. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on out there or in here. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.